Good evening and welcome to the January 7th, 2025 Board of Selectmen meeting. It is 6 o'clock, and if you'll please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right. Thank you. Citizens input. I don't have anything over here.
Oh, Bob DeMose?
Do I have anybody? Nope. I don't have anybody. No. All right, so you guys are up. You're up, Barry. Trish isn't. She's not coming? No. She texted me. It's fine.
Good evening, my name is Barry Geyer. I'm at Jones and Beach Engineers, here representing the owners of the Southern Industrial Park, or Southern New Hampshire Industrial Park, map 14, lot 273. We're here tonight to discuss a conservation easement. The applicant has been working through the planning and zoning boards and the Conservation Commission for the last few years to obtain site plan approvals to construct phase 2 and phase 5 of the Southern New Hampshire Industrial Park. For those of you that don't know, that haven't been involved, phase 2 is 4 industrial buildings with access to 108. 108 here at the bottom, we have what we call industrial drive that comes up. We have 4 industrial buildings. And phase 5 is a loop road that connects industrial drive to the existing puzzle lane. And it also includes a 44-bedroom multifamily development. As part of the site plan approvals require the typical state permits, AOT, wetlands, septic plans. As part of the state permits, the applicant is required to consult with Fish and Game regarding potential threatened or endangered species. Through our consultation with Fish and Game, they have requested an area be placed into a conservation easement. And the applicant and Fish and Game agreed to an easement adjacent to the existing gas line on the south side of the project. So this area hatched is the area that we're proposing to be the conservation easement. And we are asking that the owners are asking that the town hold the easement through the Conservation Commission. So a little bit of a blow up. You can see the area here. This is our proposed road. This is the property line, and we have the gas line that comes through it. So with that, I'd be happy to take any questions the board has.
Barry, approximately how big is it?
7.42 acres.
Okay.
So there's no, the intent is to have a place for the turtles to nest, and you can actually see like the areas in purple. We're gonna have to kind of scrape the ground because it's really gravelly there, sandy, and that's a good place for the turtles to nest. And this just allows an area with continuity through the gas line easement and the wetlands for turtles and other wildlife.
Sure. Okay.
So for anybody that wants to understand the whole purpose of this, so Fish and Game has approved it. They're looking for somebody to be able to look after the property so that 125 development does not build on this easement is the whole idea behind Fish and Game. So they've already signed off on it. This is just now a contingency like the planning board put for federal and state that they are now putting back on the town that they would like done.
Okay. Joe, you got any questions?
No.
Joe? No. Bob's good. Barry, what is the map and lot number for the easement? I guess that's how I would call it, right? Like, or do
Well,
you
it's
have
not a separate, it's gonna be a deeded area that's under a conservation easement. The conservation easement gets recorded with the,
So I should call it a conservation easement?
correct, it's a conservation easement. It's on map 14, lot 273.
Located on map 14, 273.
Correct.
Okay. So I had spoken to Ms. Elecborg before, briefly, because there is a cost associated with the site monitoring. And we felt comfortable moving forward with just $1,000 a year to be deposited into the conservation revolving fund. just to cover the cost of the monitoring and stuff, and it'll, I mean, we aren't gonna put a time on it, right? So,
Right.
for as long as it's there, I guess. So is that,
I think the owners are amenable to that.
okay. And then obviously, our motion here is still contingent on conservation commissions.
So we
approval.
need to go to Conservation Commission.
I believe so. I'm-
We're
Yeah,
discussing
because you
that,
need the two of us to sign off, conservation and us.
yeah, I'm-
we're discussing that tomorrow with conservation, tomorrow.
Okay.
so, yeah.
But we're okay with what we're talking about.
With what we're talking about,
Yeah.
okay. Yeah, so it was Jen Rowden, the RPC, she's the one who said it has to go to both. I trust her. I
Yep.
mean, you've dealt with her enough too. so-
Absolutely.
So does he have to go to conservation meeting now?
Maybe not him,
No,
maybe
I
just
don't-
Tom.
No, I think we're okay.
They
with
probably don't even need either of them.
No, we're
Now
okay
that
with
we're
that.
signing off on this
Yeah,
and
we're
doing
okay with
this,
We're
they
good.
probably.
I believe Tricia already has the map
Yeah,
in
we
her
do.
possession to
Yes.
be able to present and then tell the conservation,
Yes.
people on the conservation committee what's going on.
So it
And
should
then,
be-
once they see it with our approval,
Yeah, exactly, I'm
Right.
not trying to hold anybody
Right.
up with this, it's more going through the motions and just making sure that we have something in place to take care of
Yep.
the site monitoring and whatnot.
I's dotted and T's crossed.
as I always say, dotting the i's, crossing the t's, that's all.
Absolutely.
So with that, I'll actually make the motion because I made some scribble marks here, guys, sorry. I'll move to accept the conservation easement on map 14-273 with 125 Development Corp. to pay the associated monitoring cost of $1,000 a year, subject to the input of the Conservation Committee. Funds to be deposited into the Conservation Revolving Fund.
Second.
So that just means that as soon as Conservation gives their okay, you're good. It's not, I mean, I have to put the subject because you have to do that condition, but that's what that means. Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
That's unanimous. You guys have what you need. All right?
There you go. Well, if you have the paperwork that you need signed, you can leave it with us tonight, and then upon conservations, when Trish lets us know, then we can sign it and get it back to you.
Either way. Well, if you have paperwork that
Well,
needs
like
to
I
be
said,
signed.
once they hold their meeting and they approve it, we can sign, then they can sign it. Trish will get them to sign it, and then you'll be all set.
No, 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 no. We're not gonna do that. This is gonna be done
It'll be
tomorrow.
done tomorrow.
After their meeting,
It'll be done by this time tomorrow, it'll be done.
if somebody else has to sign it, we'll get them here to sign it. It doesn't matter. We'll make sure it's done.
Thank you all very much.
You're very
No
welcome.
problem,
This year's starting out good.
So,
yes,
Keep it going, all right?
no problem.
Don't push your luck.
Well, you know I don't quit, so. 14th is the next one, so. It's my birthday, so I'm hoping.
Happy birthday.
Happy birthday.
Happy birthday.
Not that I count anymore, but. That's good. Thank you, gentlemen.
okay,
No,
no,
no problem. Have a nice night.
You too.
And I'm sure we're gonna see you at the planning board with all the paperwork in.
Absolutely, yeah. The final one came through, so I'll have it.
Good job.
It was
All right. All right.
Thank you, guys.
Take care.
Thank
Have a
you.
good
Have a
one.
good night.
See ya. All right, Chief, you're next. You got your lined right up. Just wade through the crowd of people back there and, you know.
Yeah.
there's thousands and thousands of people out in the audience.
Evening.
Evening.
There's two things, I believe, that are on the agenda for the fire department, but I also have the monthly report, if the board wants to hear it first.
Sure.
For December, there was a total of 49 calls. Broken down, there were 3 building fires, 1 motor vehicle fire, 1 mulch fire, 21 rescues, 1 power line down, 3 public assists, 3 mutual aid, 2 dispatched and canceled, 1 smoke scare, 2 unintentional alarms, 1 severe weather standby, and 10 special incidents, which is calls that do not fall in any one of those blocks.
Sure.
Okay? The high points were on December 11th, engine 2 was requested by the town of Plastow for station coverage. On December 14th, the department had a structure fire on Whittier Street that brought in Plastow, Merrimack, Amesbury, and East Kingston, our mutual aid companies. On the 16th, Newton was dispatched again along with our mutual aid partners to Wilders Grove. Came in as an extremely large brush fire near a building, and it ended up being a shed. There was no brush involved. On December 21st, Tank 4 responded to town of Exeter for a structure fire. On the 22nd, Engine 2 was requested by the city of Amesbury. On December 26th, the department, along with those mutual aid partners, were dispatched to Willamine Drive for reported possible structure fire. It ended up being a broken water pipe, and it was steam. On December 31st, the department was dispatched, mutual aid, to New Boston Road for a train accident involving the train and a golf cart. The department is continuing to do its training with our mutual aid partners, and tomorrow evening at 5:30, the road agent, fire department, and EOC is hosting a Unitel emergency training course at the fire station.
Chief,
5:30.
if I may, what was the outcome of that Boston Road incident with the golf cart and the train?
We actually, there was no one around, from what I was told. There was no injuries. Somebody just left the train, the golf cart on the track, and the train hit it, pushed it off the golf cart. That actually incident happened in Kingston. Newton arrived first, and the officer in charge just waited until we were released by Kingston. And once the fire department, everybody got there, the train had the okay to continue.
Good news.
That was it. I didn't put it in the report. We started the 24s. There are some days that are not 24 on. Some days that there's no one at the station. And the reason for that is we're not backfilling the station, as I stated earlier. We're not backfilling the station or bringing extra personnel in. If there are 2 individuals signed up, they'll stay. We're not doing double medic. And that the only reason for that is we do not know what the budget is. And since we still have Trinity doing the transports, I'm trying to keep the salary line down since we still have Trinity. But starting March 1st, you will have the doubles. Okay?
Yep.
On that half.
Alrighty.
And the quarters are all set?
Quarters are all set. We had, I call them the family, 2 Canes that wanted to make sure they were the first to do 24s on January 2nd. And they did. And I have not heard, there was a 24 that Thursday, there was a 24 Saturday, there's a 24 today. And so far, haven't heard one complaint.
Sounds good. Thank you.
Got a ceremony coming up for the new ambulance?
The EMS coordinator was already told. The game plan is, deliberative session is February 1st. The game plan is to have the push-in February 2nd. If deliberative session ends up being the 8th, then the push-in ceremony will be the 9th. So we'll just play the weather.
Yep.
But the big hurdle right now is the state. We have to wait.
Certifying it, right?
We have to wait for the state. But Greenwood came down, Greenwood did everything they had to do. They didn't bill us for a bunch of stuff. So that anything that needed to be mounted is mounted.
Good.
Who is the holdup at the state? Who from the state, I guess, are you waiting on?
Many years ago, the Board of Selectmen hired an EMS coordinator, which happens to be the deputy. The EMS coordinator actually works for the
the
5 of
state?
you. The ambulance and everything else falls under me. I know the EMS coordinator The deputy was told yesterday, this is the game plan. That beast has to go into service first week or the second week of February, make sure it gets done,
Okay.
okay? But again, that position,
We've had it for a while now.
Yeah.
Nice to get it in service.
yeah. I do know, what I was told was the last piece of equipment was the IV pump that the board approved, and that did come in, and that's been installed in the truck.
Okay. I just wanted to see if there was a holdup with getting the state here.
No.
Like
To the
make
best of
some
my
phone
knowledge,
calls
no.
and-
You might see, like, you might see the truck driving around, just because it's a diesel.
I get it.
And it's been going from one door, they're starting it up and moving it 30 seconds to another door, which is not good for a diesel. So they're being told, drive it.
Yep. Okay. Alrighty.
You want to say something, Joe?
No, that was,
What do you got next?
It was for a pay increase, I'm not sure if that's public
Yep.
or.
yes, yes,
Okay.
yes.
What ended up happening was when the big changes came last March, that individual did not get his full medic pay. So he's been $1 short this whole time. And I did have his total,
We have
I
it.
have it right here, so
we
we
have
can
it.
move, yeah.
So we
So
want
we're paying
retroactive on that?
retroactively, correct?
Well, so we have two different motions, but yes, we will.
that would be up to the board to retroact it. I think it's like 800 and,
$686.
well, the 686 was
The hours worked.
hours worked through doing shifts.
Yeah,
Hours worked, you'd have to add 155 to that, because that was for all drills. And fires came out to a total of $841.
So why wouldn't that have been in the payroll?
So we need to amend
so yeah, 841.
So where's the
155.
Where's the paperwork to back that up, I guess? Because we're looking at, from our payroll person.
Yep, that is,
Those-
there were two. There used to be, for many years, even before my time, one payroll. Every month, every member of the fire department was paid. Several years ago, it was decided to go bi-weekly and monthly.
Yep.
The bookkeeper has bi-weeklies, and if they look, they have the monthlies. It is quicker for me to do a monthly because I can bring up any member of that department on a monthly in about 5 seconds. I have the printout from the computer. Like I said, this was short. I didn't get to send it to you, but this
Okay.
is the proof that he did 155 hours on the monthly side. What you have is the bi-weeklies.
Okay.
So he did 600, and whatever number you have,
686.
working day shifts. This is everything else that the young man worked.
So what is it number?
841's the total.
841 total.
So that's just,
And I'll leave you this.
$841.
Yeah, leave that with Robin,
So this is
please.
gonna be,
I'll leave
that's
it.
fine. You just change that one.
Okay, so we can make these motions then?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, I move to increase the fire department, Brian Kane's pay rate from $23 to $24 based on the earned certification achieved to be a firefighter medic. The new pay rate will be effective immediately.
second.
Motion made by Joe S., seconded by Joe A. All those in favor?
Aye.
That is unanimous.
And secondly, I move to authorize the issue of a lump sum payment of $841 and retroactive pay to Brian Kane.
Second.
Motion made by Joe, seconded by Joe. All those in favor?
Aye.
That's unanimous. All right.
On behalf of Mr. Kane, thank you.
Next up,
The last thing, I have two things, but one is for non-public. And I'm just gonna leave with the board, because Dan, you and I talked about one of the members.
Okay.
I have all the paperwork in regards to clear him
okay.
for the board. I just need the board to say he's
Yeah,
good.
all right, you can just leave it with Robin or whatever.
And the board did receive an invite from the Seacoast Chiefs for Exeter Hospital, not Exeter Hospital, I'm sorry, to meet in Exeter in regards to the new ALS Intercept. Okay?
Yep.
It was, I spent 3 hours this morning having that discussion.
You bet.
one of the questions that were brought up, and it's a board's decision, if all the board members are going, if you're gonna post it as a meeting, or if this just,
I don't think all the board members are going.
We don't have
I
to
was
post
gonna
it
say
as
the
a
chair
meeting.
and one
It's an informational, which
correct,
doesn't require us to post it as a meeting.
correct. You will be getting, I learned today that the town of Newton signed an MOU with Exeter Hospital, like every department did, 1992. So we've had an MOU. After that meeting, the town's gonna get an MOU if you wanna
Sign it again?
sign it
Sure.
again. I'm standing here telling you, yeah, sign it again.
Okay.
We're good. The first year's gonna be what we pay now for Exeter. And in 2023, they came twice.
Yeah, I think
to
I
Newton,
asked you how many
And in
times,
'24, they came 0 times.
Yeah, so, okay.
Do we pay on a per-call basis?
Correct. The department paid $250 for both times they came into town. And like I explained today at the meeting, we had Trinity. And if Trinity wasn't available, Newton did. If Newton wasn't available, we have Amesbury. If Amesbury's unavailable, we have Merrimack. If those guys, depending on where the call is, ever since March 1st, we have an agreement with Plastow. Plastow's been in town several times already and provided assistance to Newton on mutual aid.
Okay.
We have a great relationship with the chief and the department, so we're very confident.
Okay. Next, you got forest fire payroll? You didn't know about that? Did you forget about that?
Okay.
Might as well.
I don't have the numbers in front of me,
It's
but
okay.
it's
You don't
two-
have to just talk
We
about
have
what
that
it
already.
is.
It's two individuals.
Yep.
Every year, thank you, Robin. I'll trade you. You can serve. Yep. Every year, the last pay cycle of the year, anyone that issues out burn permits, that are a permit writer or a deputy warden, they're compensated for issuing out those permits. What you have in front of you is the state form that the warden signs and approves. That's my half. Then it goes to the board votes and approves it for payroll. The board signs, then it goes to the treasurer, and the treasurer does what the treasurer does, signs it, submits it. This comes out of the fire department's, the forest fire salary line. I do not have that number,
No, it's fine.
but that's where it comes out of.
Okay. Is this for everybody that writes a burn permit?
Anyone
'Cause I was
that has
gonna
been
say, my
appointed,
burn permit didn't come from either of them.
no. If you did it online,
Nope.
no, which
My
we,
neighbor.
we had almost 200 online. If they are, there's only one warden in town. If they are a permit writer or a deputy writer, they can issue out permits. The individuals that are on shift can issue permits, they cannot put in.
Okay,
You can't double dip,
sure,
okay?
makes sense.
This goes out every single, Captain Zelinski, trust me, we all know. He makes sure that anyone who issued a permit, he knows about. He knows about.
Goes to
You
visit
want
them.
my shock look?
He goes to visit them. What's for
Yeah,
supper?
they knocked it down and that was back up.
Right, but where are we gonna put this to?
Okay, so
This is this year's budget.
Oh,
This is this year's
are
budget.
we ready for a
Okay.
motion?
So it would go that way, you know what
all
I
right.
mean?
We ready for a
It's-
motion?
It's 'cause
Yeah,
of
go
the
ahead.
physical year, not the.
I move to approve the 2024 forestry payroll, which includes payment for Ralph Estabrook in the amount of $200 and $90 issued to Robert Zelinski for a total of $290.
Second.
Motion made by Joe, seconded by Joe. All those in favor?
Aye.
That's unanimous.
And lastly, I'm sure
Tyler.
I have to change. We submitted our AFG grant for 2023 or 20, whatever, it's a year behind. I have to change the previous town administrator and put your name
Okay.
on it, so if you receive anything,
That's fine.
you'll know what it's about.
Yep.
We also sent letters of support to both senators and one congressman, so they might reach out
Okay,
to you also, at least that way you know what's going on,
all right.
okay?
Sounds good, chief.
Anything else from the board?
No, I think that's it.
Okay.
Good, thank you.
Thank you.
Did he say he's coming to a non-public tonight or no?
No, he's gonna leave paperwork for us for non-public.
Okay.
Mikey, what you got?
I don't know.
No, you just came?
No, well, there's warrants, but
Oh, you wanted,
the thing is,
for the warrants?
definitely gonna get that.
Okay.
He just misses us and likes to show up.
There's nothing to do on,
He was done at the gym and figured,
nothing to do on Tuesday.
all right. Okay, that's fine, I was just making sure. Okay. Hold on 1 second. All right, this next thing is, Tricia is not gonna be here tonight, but this was a acquisition a requisition to buy an aluminum utility trailer to move her four-wheelers around for emergency management. We did talk about this briefly with.
Before, yeah.
Because he was trying to encumber this,
Right, exactly, and it didn't end up happening, so we're just gonna,
take it out of emergency management.
right, now it's just gonna come from emergency management operations, so I don't really have any questions about this, because we've kind of already discussed
I
it,
move
so.
to approve emergency management requisition dated 12/19/24 in the amount of $4,920. Payment to C&M Truck and Trailer Sales LLC. Funds to be come from emergency management op revolving account ending in 3025.
Second.
Motion made by Joe, seconded by Joe, all those in favor?
Aye.
That is unanimous. Next up is the assessor abatement for tax map 6-8-7-2, 36 Thornell Road. No money is being refunded. The assessor states that this is just for accounting purposes only, so
So I
with
move
that.
to approve the abatement application for tax map 6-8-7-2 as recommended by the town assessor.
Second.
Motion made by Joe, seconded by Joe, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye, that is unanimous. All right, Joe, you wanna take this next one? Or at
Yes.
least talk about it a little bit?
Yes, we have the Gail Harris Trust Fund, which is a fund which was established in 1920-something. It was on behalf of, to benefit the poor and sick of the town of Newton. And we received a phone call from BMO Bank, and they are the trust holders for the Harris Trust Fund. And they advised that due to new IRS protocol, we had $6,459 available that we needed to take a distribution of. So we wrote them a letter, and we basically said it's gonna be used for the town food pantry, and they sent us a check. So with that, I move to accept and expand the funds issued from the Harris Trust Fund to be deposited into food pantry account.
Second.
Motion made by Joe, seconded by Joe. All those in favor?
Aye.
That's unanimous. All right. Warrant article discussion. This is the part that Mike wanted to come here for. You knew that. All right. So I threw together some warrant articles that we've used in the past, and haven't used in the past. We're trying to clean up some of our bank accounts, right? So this first one, I want to put a hold on for this year. I know none of them are numbered, guys, right? But I want to put a hold on actually doing that this year for one reason only. I'd like to use this account in a warrant article to pay for the hazardous waste day.
Okay.
So if we leave this here, we can use that money from this account to pay for the hazardous waste day without doing anything. And that can show up as a zero warrant article, you know, no tax impact, that's what I'm trying to say. So with that said, I say we leave this one, don't dissolve this one this year.
Sure, fine.
But keep it.
Yeah.
Keep it and use it.
Keep the account, use the money that's in there, everybody will do the hazardous waste day, and we won't raise taxes at all by doing that.
Yeah.
Cause I think it was 45,000, maybe 60 to do hazardous waste, I don't remember, I can look at it, I mean, I'm sure they're gonna give us a price again anyways, but, so that's, but it'll be on the warrant anyways. So that's that.
How much was in that account?
$273,000, somewhere in there.
Roughly, yeah.
Operating budget, we're gonna talk about that later. Dissolving the engineering renovation for 8 Merrimack Road account. We have used almost all the funds in that account. There's probably a couple $100 in there, but we used it to pave the lot, and we used it, some of it for redoing the building for the sleeping quarters and stuff like that. So,
And we discussed this, just so everybody knows too, Mr. Chairman, that it's just an extra account that is really not needed because we have an account that takes care of all the town's buildings. So this is, to take care of those buildings is the only
To
way you can
duplication
use that
reference.
money for 8 Merrimack Road when they're already inclusive of all the town buildings. So we can just appropriate these monies, let them go into the unassigned fund balance, and like we're talking about, one less account, and the money will be
there's a
there.
less account,
Just some
and then
maintenance.
it's, part of it is dealing with the money that's coming into the town for the lease, and the town wanted to use it for those buildings. Well, I'm in favor of being super transparent and would rather just return all the money to the townspeople that they're,
Right.
all the revenue, whatever the town makes. The town is not in the business to make money. So even if we do, with the ambulance service and everything like that, if that starts making money, the money's gonna go back to the town. Like, I have no plans, or we have no plans of keeping any of the money. We're not in the business to make money.
Yeah, it makes no sense to keep putting money in the accounts and then having it sit there and not being put to use for the townspeople.
Sure. I mean, how long did it take? It built up, what, 50 grand?
Yeah.
It's $12,000 a year.
Like
that we're
almost 10
getting.
years, almost five,
10.
yeah, almost 10 years.
So like, we used it for that reason that they wanted us to, was for that property. Now let's just let it go and, include the whole thing.
Exactly.
Same thing with the ambulance fund. This one is the one that only has, I think, like $8,000 in it right now. I'm not positive, I forget. But we're gonna, what's that?
No, I was just looking at it.
Okay. We're gonna dissolve this fund. We're gonna have one ambulance fund, revolving account.
Right.
Right? That's the plan. So we'll get rid of this one. We'll put it on the ballot. If the townspeople agree, we'll get rid of this one, and we're gonna have one.
And this will do the same, this will go back to unassigned.
Exactly. Same thing, it'll go back to the unassigned fund, and we'll return the money come time to set the tax rate, that money will back. All right, so town buildings capital reserve, 50,000, same thing as it was last year. If the voters decide to support it, they'll support it, and it'll just keep going up. we'll
And that's
use
the account that we were just talking about previously, that
maintain the
we would be
buildings.
able to use the
Yes,
said
of
monies from that account
Right.
if we needed to
If
for
we
the
needed to.
Butler building, the police building,
Yeah,
and
whatever.
the
Any town
fire
buildings.
department,
Anything.
right, yeah.
Police cruisers and equipment, 25,000, same thing. It's so, if we do it again this year at 25, I think last year a resident upped it to 35 at deliberative, so if
Right.
they do that again, that's fine. The chief of police said that they'd be all set to, I think their next purchase is in 2027.
Oh, so the
Planned
25 will
purchase,
be
so he
fine.
said he'll be good to go
Right.
if that happens, so that's a good thing. Fire apparatus and equipment capital reserve is at 50, it's been at 50, we all know fire trucks are expensive, and it takes a long time to build that account up to buy one. Highway vehicle and equipment capital reserve, so this has to change a little bit, because we're not establishing anything, we already have one, because the town did vote to do it, and I say we stay with the 50.
Right.
50's
try
a
to-
good number, to boost
To
it.
build up some money in there so we can start buying some equipment for this town. The cyclical reevaluation, I think, is going away completely this year. We have $50,000 in there, it costs us $50,000.
Right.
So this year, maybe our one stay, like you don't have this warrant article this year.
Right.
Next year, we'll put it
Put it
on the
back.
ballot for
Right.
10 grand. And
Oh,
then we'll
okay.
build it up, so we have the 50 at the next time,
Right.
okay?
And this is simply so that the townspeople know that are watching this or preview this meeting later on, so that we don't, as the chairman just stated, we don't take a huge hit of $50,000 at one whack, but putting the $10,000 aside each year, so it doesn't hit the pocketbook as bad.
And as much as people may not like the reevals, It's mandated by law, so if you don't vote for it, I still have to pay for it, it still has to get done, I don't have a choice.
Exactly.
Highway construction revolving account. This is on here, put another 200,000. I think Mike got a lot more done this year than he wanted to, not wanted to. He got more done than normal this year. And it was all because of this right here. So like I say, we continue this fund. You know, if people want to complain that roads are bad, then this is the way that they can fix it.
Right.
It's the best way. They didn't
That's
want the
it.
bond. I mean, the bond barely, almost was there, but this is the next best thing for us to do to try to get our roads back into shape. So I'm definitely staying with that one. Let's skip this one for right now because we have to,
Yeah.
there's a lot to go over on that one. The contingency fund, I say we do it again.
Well,
We
this is
just
the
have
one
to-
that replenishes, this one
We
goes...
have to sell it.
Okay,
Because the money is going back into the unassigned fund no matter what. But then we raise it again. So if we continue to do it, it's a wash. We did it once, but if we continue to do it, it's a wash, and it's just a good thing to have, just
Something
in
to fall
case
back on.
something.
and this one doesn't
Exactly.
cost anything.
Right, it doesn't cost anything. But it has to, it's gonna show that it costs something, but it doesn't. So that's our job to sell it, that like, no, we did it last year, the money went back, we're gonna do it again. The cisterns and fire ponds, we got that at 25. It was at 50. We dropped it back down to 25 because the chief said he was comfortable with having 100 in there. So this will put it at 100. Lake Coast program, they're doing, did you get paperwork for that? Yes. You did, okay, that's fine. That's a citizen's petition, will be on there again, not a problem. Hazardous Waste Day, I pulled this from, I don't even remember when I pulled it from. So the number won't be right, but this is what it'll look like on the ballot. I'll look in to see what the number's gonna be. Do you know what I mean? Yep. So we know how much it's gonna cost. And
Didn't
it'll
we just
say,
we're gonna use the other one for this?
we're gonna use that fund for it. Exactly. But I
But it's still
don't
gonna be
think
on
it's
there.
gonna be 30 grand.
Right.
I think the last year we did it 2 years ago was 45.
Yeah, I was gonna say it was closer to
So-
50,000.
More than we thought.
So, and you know what? We can say 60. And if it's not 60, you're
Then it
only
just goes
paying,
back,
you know
right.
what I mean?
Yeah, I'd
So-
rather have more and there's a buffer.
And I completely agree. So we can deal with that. Mike, did I miss any warrant articles that you would want to touch base on?
Not any existing, and this might not be the time to talk about proposed warrant articles, because
Sure.
we still have time.
We do still have time until, when is the 10th, I think is the date, so we're close.
Is it the 10th?
Yeah,
3 days?
Yeah.
it's
All right,
close.
so we do have a short window. It's the one pertaining to up the street that we talked about.
The Merrimack Road?
Yeah.
Yeah. No, now I know what you're talking about.
Okay.
Yeah, is that a thing? Did you talk to him?
Yeah.
And he wants it?
Well, whatever it takes to make it happen,
Oh, that.
yeah.
Okay. All right,
I mean, again, that window's small too, but,
very small now.
yeah.
Okay,
So,
all right,
we should talk about
that's fine. I have to get a wording and everything right for that one,
Correct.
yeah.
I think there's one in place from years back.
Yeah, there's probably is, we
Yeah.
could
I'll
probably
look
look
at
at it,
it.
yeah.
Yeah, there is, from the police station.
Correct.
Yep.
Yeah.
I'll look at that one, and then I'll put it together, and then you can show it to him, and he can see it, and we'll go from there. That's fine. Okay. Okay. So, let's discuss the fire one. To see,
Yeah, let's discuss that.
let's discuss that one, because we gotta figure out how we're gonna do that.
We don't let people mess it up this time.
Yeah, I don't think MJ is gonna let that happen. Actually, hold on, before we do that, I need a motion to pay Eastern Seaboard $7,700 for the fire and rescue sleeping quarters to be paid out of the engineering and renovation at 8 Merrimack Road, account ending in 3583.
So moved.
As
So it's so
stated.
moved, pass.
You got that? All right, so that was Joe Simone, Joe Iell, second.
Yeah.
All those in favor?
Aye.
That's unanimous. That was just more of a
Housekeeping.
Paperwork
paperwork
procedure.
thing,
Housekeeping.
housekeeping, sure, however you want, whatever you want to call it. All right. I'm just trying to find my emails and stuff that I just sent. Where the heck did it go? That's not it. Oh, it's all this. Okay. So, we all know that our warrant article was worded wrong, for whatever reason. We have to fix it. So I have a couple of options that we can do to fix it. So, right now it's established as a, what is it established
A
as?
reserve fund.
It's a
That's
it's a
revolving.
revolving fund.
No, we wanted a
No,
revolving
we
fund.
wanted a revolving, it's
So
not
they
a
set it up
But
as a
the way-
capital reserve.
It's a reserve fund.
It's a
We wanted a
reserve fund.
revolving
Right,
fund.
a capital reserve fund.
The ballot had revolving fund on the ballot on the warrant.
Right, but the wording that MJ put into DRA
Oh,
was capital reserve. And that's what they accepted. So that's the problem where we're at, okay?
We just need to make that correction and change it from a capital reserve to a revolving.
Right,
not
so,
necessarily. We had to expand it because you had that other word.
So what we need to do is dissolve the one that's there now, and then create the new one worded appropriately and have said funds from the first one deposited into the new account.
right, dissolving the fund completely and funding the annual master.
So again, this is just housekeeping,
Yeah,
cleaning this up because DRA doesn't approve the way that it was put forth, so they want us to procedurally correct it in the wording so that the monies can be expended for the purpose that we set forth in the first place, because they're giving us a hard time about trying to expend some of that money from the account.
right. Is to use two articles, one to dissolve what was done in '24 and another one to create a new revolving fund that is better suited for the situation. It's easier than trying to salvage what was done in 2024 because the 2024 amendment references adherence to RSA Chapter 35 and to modify after Chapter 35 fund, you need supermajority vote. But to discontinue an RSA Chapter 35, you only need a simple majority.
Right.
So he is suggesting that you dissolve the fund and make the fund, right? So in and out.
Two warrant articles which result in
But
no
there'll have to
increase in
be,
any.
if this one fails, then this one's null, right? Because one doesn't pass, then you don't.
They both have to pass.
Right.
So that's the thing. Either way, it's going to say no tax impact,
Right.
Yeah,
because we already
We
have
already
that.
have the
already have the
tax
money.
impact, right?
money's already in
Right.
the account.
But when we do the wording on the other one, it'll say that the monies dissolved from the first account will be deposited
Right.
into the second account.
Again, guys, remember, it's us selling it. So we
Yeah.
just have to do what we
Yeah,
do
it's
and
a-
just tell everybody this is what these are for, you know,
We just-
in the voter's guide and stuff like that, and we have to sell it.
And like what we just said down,
Yeah.
that it's just
It's just cleaning it up, doing
It's
some
cleaning
housekeeping,
it up and
yeah,
allowing
make it
us to
legitimate,
use
yeah.
it
As-
the way it
as-
was
the way it was
intended,
intended.
without
Exactly.
it getting torn apart. So that's important.
We're gonna have to use the right name. Is this the right name? That's the fund.
Yeah,
When we dissolve it, we use that.
yeah, and we'll set it up and vote to dissolve the fire and rescue ambulance
Program.
program, right?
Right.
And then when you
Then we'll reestablish
establish
it.
a revolving under certain RSA, Fire and Rescue,
Right.
Rescue Ambulance Service Revolving Fund. So his only stipulation is he's worried about, the lawyer is worried about if they fail.
Well, we weren't establishing a new fund, I thought. I
It
thought we
really
were gonna
shouldn't fail. I mean,
modify
we
the
should-
existing ambulance.
We can't modify it.
Oh, we can't?
No, because it was established under a certain RSA and you can't, and this is what he means, if you were to modify it, you need a supermajority.
Not to modify this one, but I thought last year at the deliberative, the objective was to modify the other ambulance account that we have so that we still only have one ambulance.
Sure, but we're gonna dissolve one, so it won't matter.
Okay.
The other one's gonna be gone.
This one's gonna be gone.
They'll both technically be
Yeah,
gone.
they'll both be
The
gone.
ambulance, the one that's literally just says ambulance
Right.
fund, that one's on the ballot to be dissolved.
Okay.
That's
Right.
what we had talked about
And
earlier,
then
so
we'll
there'll be
make
no
one new one.
confusion in where it's going. So,
So will we sending out a voter's guide?
we're
So
going
in
to
that
send-
voter's guide, we want to definitely
have
make sure that
It'll be explained.
this is explained.
So, here's my one problem with the attorney's email that I'm worried about, is if we talk about 24/7, around the clock fire ambulance services to the town. I think we leave that out.
If we don't talk about it?
No, we just leave that wording out of the, warrant article.
Yeah, it doesn't need to be in
If the
there.
warrant article fails, we can't do 24/7.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
We have to subcontract to somebody else.
But if we don't put that wording in,
If you don't put that wording in, then even if it fails,
Right.
we can still make it,
Right.
you know what I mean? We can try to figure it out and make it work. But if we
Right.
put that wording in there and it fails, we can't do 24/7.
Yeah, so just strike it.
Because no means no.
right.
So you're gonna develop the language for the,
Yeah. I'll go over all that, because the lawyer has to approve of all of them and stuff
deal.
like that.
And then DRA's got to
And then I
approve
gotta send
them.
them to DRA and
Yeah.
DRA's
If
gonna
the
approve them.
budget doesn't pass, we're gonna have a problem with the 24-hour anyway.
If the budget doesn't pass?
Right.
Yeah. Well, that's a different story. Let's get, baby
One
steps,
problem at a
Joe,
time.
baby steps.
Yep.
Okay, so we're good with that. We'll do the dissolve and redo it.
Right,
We'll knock out some of that wording, so it's not, doesn't say what it says right now. Make that note.
right.
Call.
So it's not contentious.
Exactly.
I like that, not contentious, I like that.
Hey, I've been reading.
Okay, so that's good. Oh, I had to. That one, Mike. Okay.
Schedule?
Oh, the schedule? Yeah, let's do the schedule real quick. What did I do? Go ahead, thank you. Did you guys all look at the schedule?
I did briefly. It doesn't look like there's really
Yeah, looks fine.
anything
And
that's,
we can change this anytime with enough advance
Yeah, yeah.
warning. This is
exactly.
just so we can post it, have it out there, so people have a general idea of what's happening. You know what I mean?
Right, which is the first and third
think we-
Tuesday of every month, unless,
Except
of
for
course,
February.
it's a holiday or,
Right, February, we only have one meeting. Oh, no, we have
We
Oh,
have two. It's March, because that's voting.
Yeah. do
we
the-
still have two
do
in
the
March. I
vote.
thought I.
well, that's the planning board, when we have to vote on the 11th. That's the second Tuesday in the month. So they won't be meeting,
Right.
but will be, and then the rest of the months.
Yep.
Did this change, Robin, from the one you sent out like 2 weeks ago? Or a week
No,
ago?
it's the same, it's just dressed up a little.
It's just stressed up a little.
I could have sworn there was only a,
There's some colors in there now.
So,
Last
I think
year's had one.
as she has, the only one is July 1st, which is close to
oh, that's maybe
the
that's.
4th,
Oh, but it's,
May, June.
the Tuesday's a regular.
So, yeah, so July 1st is actually the Tuesday, and the 4th is on a Friday, so if we happen to know that enough board members are gonna be away on vacation or something, and
that's
we
what
don't
Yeah,
have,
it'll be
right,
flexible, yeah.
and then we can just cancel the
This
meeting.
is up for us to
Exactly.
just change or whatever, so that's no
Yeah,
big deal.
So do we need a motion to accept this?
Yes.
I'd like to make a motion to accept the 2025 selectmen schedule as presented.
Second.
Motion made by Joe, seconded by Joe. All those in favor?
Aye.
That is unanimous. I don't know where mine is real quick.
Food pantry.
Next up, I'd like to acknowledge the generous donations received to the food pantry by the following. The Gideon Lodge, number 84 for $250, John and Madeline Kozak for $100, Anonymous for $300, and Anonymous for $500 in Market Basket gift cards.
Thank you so much, greatly appreciated.
Before I make the motion, we did purchase and have given the gift cards to Market Basket totaling
$2,760.
$2,760 in Market Basket gift cards for the food pantry, so it's easier for them to give them out for people who are in need. So with that said, I'll accept the motion.
I move to accept and expend said donations to Newton Food Pantry.
Second.
Motion made by Joe, seconded by Joe. All those in favor?
Aye.
That's unanimous. Okay. All right.
Manifest?
Yep, let's do the manifest.
I move to approve vendor manifest in the amount of $185,348.66 with a payment date of January 2nd, 2025. Payment includes $23,827.96 to G Mello Disposal for trash hauling services and $1,505.67 to Mackenzie Heating and Cooling for townwide heating, fuel, and propane.
Second.
Motion made by Joe A, seconded by Joe S. All those in favor?
Aye.
That's unanimous.
I move to approve the withdrawal in the amount of $12,422.75 from the cable revolving account with a pay date of January 2nd, 2025. Payment includes $6,288.00 to Peerless Audio and Video, LLC, for audio equipment, and $4,358.00 to Armon Networks for monthly IT services.
Second.
Motion made by Joe, seconded by Joe. All those in favor?
Aye.
That's unanimous.
I move to approve the withdrawal of $16,900 from the highway construction account with a pay date of January 2nd, 2025. Payment is to Eastern Seaboard Concrete Construction Company for highway construction equipment rental from September 9th, 2024 to November 15th, 2024.
Second.
Motion made by Joe, seconded by Joe. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye, that's unanimous.
I move to approve the withdrawal of $209.56 from the food pantry checking account with the pay date of January 2nd, 2025. Payment is to reimburse Tina O'Rourke for food items purchased for Christmas dinner.
Second.
Motion made by Joe, seconded by Joe. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye, that's unanimous. Go ahead, hit the minutes.
I move to approve and accept the public meeting minutes dated December 20th, 2024, as written.
Second.
Motion made by Joe, seconded by Joe. All right, we
All
are
those
good?
in favor?
All those in favor?
Aye.
That's unanimous, sorry. I'll make these two announcements. We are gonna go into the budget after this. The announcement, the first one is the public hearing for the 2025 proposed budget will be on January 16th at 5:30 at the town hall with a snow date of January 21st at 6 p.m. The town hall and the library will be closed Monday, January 20th in honor of Martin Luther King Day. Okay, now we are gonna go into the budget.
Yippee.
I know you were all excited.
Yeah.
I am too. Mike, are you gonna stay for this?
Staying until 7, so.
Till 7? 6:54, that's 6 minutes of budget talk, buddy. You may not even hit your budget by then.
Probably won't.
Okay. Second. One that says Dan's copy on it. I know I have one. None of you guys have one that says Dan's copy, right?
No.
Hold on, I'll find it. Oh, this, Dan's in it. All right, we're good. Now I got it. Okay. So what I'm showing you guys right here are the things that I went through as I was trying to get it together, get everything together with everything entered and numbers updated and stuff like that. So you're gonna see my edit on this. There are things that are missing on the next one that I'm gonna show you guys. The Avatar. So Avatar is used by 3 different departments. It was originally all being billed under finance. We're gonna split it up and assessing's gonna get one, Building safety's gonna get one, and the tax collector's gonna get one, okay? It's not on anything right now, because I didn't have actual line, GL numbers to attach it to, so it will be on the final, it'll show where they are. And it'll be in the default and the proposed, because that's a contracted service, we don't have a choice, but it will not be in the finance budget,
Why are we pulling it from there?
because it has nothing to do with the finance budget.
Okay,
It's used by the tax collector,
Yeah.
it's used by the assessing department, and it's used by the building department. And
Okay.
that's it.
so it's just those two departments.
Right. Why it was on the finance is because somebody said that was just, they
Stick it
dumped
in there.
everything, you know, like,
Right.
you know. Okay, so if you go to, I'm just showing you my edits, we'll talk about the other stuff in a minute. On cemetery, the stipend was missing from the default budget, that was voted in, so it is part of the, default budget as that stipend for $1,200.
Right,
It should be blank on yours.
no, that's it.
No, it's here. 2,000 balance?
$1,200,
No.
yeah, it's on there.
Default.
Oh, default.
Default, the
Right.
2025 default
Yep.
is blank, it
Okay,
should be
blank.
1,200.
Yep.
Right, it's gotta be
Okay.
on both.
Exactly. Conservation Commission, I didn't see anything, issues with that. Down to election, pretty much the town clerk. So her salary is showing as a default as 5,000, it's not, it's supposed to be 53,250, which is what her salary is for that. If you look down, you see the town clerk fees is at 0 for the proposed, so it's 0 on the default as well, because we moved her
moved
salary
it
into that
Right,
line,
so this
okay?
actually goes zero.
Exactly, so that'll be zeroed
But
out.
this will get changed from
Exactly,
5,000.
from 5,000 to 53,250. And if you go to the next page, the same thing with the town clerk fees and the vital record fees. Both have the same,
Right.
the same thing's gonna happen to those.
Right,
Emergency
because those were going towards her salary.
Exactly, exactly. Okay, go all the way to tax collector. Avatar will be in there for $3,152, and the tax collector fees is getting zeroed out to 0, because that's part of her salary,
Tax,
collector fees.
not the salary, just the fees.
Not the salary, just the fees, right.
Zero, yep.
And then,
So that Avatar support you're taking out of the next one?
the Avatar support completely, that 13.5 is coming out.
Right.
I'm not sure if that's the right number or not. I will know probably by the end of tonight what the right number is and where I'm gonna put it, okay? Salary, I'm gonna drop it down to 75 again. So if you see in the proposed, it says 92,400. I'm gonna drop it back down to 75.
Oh, administration?
Yep.
Yep.
Does anybody have any problems with that?
Nope.
Okay.
Nope.
Say that one more time?
Nope.
You don't? Do you follow me or no?
No, that's what I'm asking.
Okay, so see the salary where it says 92,400 all
Yep.
the way on the right?
Yep.
We're gonna drop that back down to 75,
Okay,
okay?
yeah.
Fire department, annual dues and contracts, he's got it in here for 16,000, but the default is 14,000. If it's a contract, it's gonna go up to 16, so I will talk to him about adjusting that.
Oh, the default will have to go up to 16.
Exactly, that's what, I'm talking default mostly. I'll tell you when I'm talking proposed, but mostly I'm talking default. Internet service for the fire station, the default needs to go up to 6,500.
Okay,
And then the protective clothing line, it says 13,250, it needs to be 10,750, because that's not, it can't be included in the default. That's, the default is what the last year's budget was, unless we have a contract.
Right.
oh,
We
right, this
don't.
has to be 10.
Right, it's probably just
750.
just an error,
Right.
you know what I mean? Next page, telephone, 8140. 8140 is what needs to be in the default, because we're pulling
Contract.
telephone and internet from the cable and putting it into everybody's budget across the board. We're not doing it, right? The other one is the grant match. The grant match was in the 2024 budget. He's got it in the proposed budget. For some reason, it was left out of the default, so I just put it back in there. Forest, fire, nope. Library, no, we can't touch that. General government buildings. So electricity, You see proposed is 58,000.
right.
I put that as the default number as well, because that's like, we can't do anything about that price.
Right.
Can't buy electricity from
Well-
someone else?
You have 58, but I mean, really, it was 60,000 and change.
Yeah, I know, we'll discuss that, right?
Right.
Because we need a better breakdown on some of those things,
Right.
what gets charged to certain accounts. So this next one is the grounds and maintenance for general government buildings. I have to consult the contract. I ran out of time today doing all the other contract stuff, so this is one that I'll update, and I'll make sure that the default and the proposed is exactly what it's supposed to be for the grounds, the maintenance.
Well,
'Cause
at
we
least the
have a
winter one's
contract.
right.
Huh?
The winter one looks
The
right.
winter one's right, because that's not part of that
Right.
contract. But the grounds maintenance, I just need to make sure that it's not changing from what the original contract was. It didn't have a stipulation that goes up or whatever. Internet service, bumped to 58, because that's how much it costs. Health officer not changing anything, highway and streets, Mike's,
Well, what about oil? Under internet service, you have 24,000, you have 13, that's gonna get changed too, right?
oil, yeah, you're
5800.
right,
Yep.
I got a good catch. Check that.
And actually, well, propane's already matched.
Yeah, propane's, we're good with propane for now. This line is like this whole budget is overspent like that, because I think there was a lot being applied to this.
General buildings, yeah.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I
I
think
do.
there was a lot that was applied to this.
Yes.
Whether it was right or not, like, it could have gone to other places, but it all kept
No,
coming
it
from
came out
this
here.
one.
Mhm.
Because I think the library put a lot to this too,
Sure,
and they have their own line,
right.
so.
Next, Mike's. The only thing I'm changing are the internet service and the telephone, both need to be set at 1550. Hey, Mike.
Where are we going with telephone? 1550?
Yeah.
1550?
Yep, on both lines, for the telephone and the internet. And I did look at all of them today, and that's where we're at. Robin took all the bills and added them all up for the year, so whenever we're entering those, they've already been checked. How you doing, Mike? We're just about to start on insurance on that big pack right there.
Thank you.
If you find the insurance page, I'll wait for you.
You got all afternoon?
Yeah, I do, I got plenty of time, buddy.
Did you say insurance?
Yeah,
Yep. Yeah, just after highway.
it's about in the middle. Oh, a little bit past.
Tax court, finance, fire department.
Good?
Yep.
Okay. So, if you look at the proposed side, those numbers are all correct, and they will be transposed to the default side. What that says is, property and liability went up 15.16%. Unemployment went down 18.8%. Workers' comp went up 12%. So those numbers on the right in the proposed are the
That'll
correct
be the
numbers.
default.
They will be transposed to the default side.
Okay.
Next page.
Legal, that's awesome.
Yeah. So this
Oh,
Is-
personnel.
where it gets interesting. So dental went up 5%, which is $566. I don't know how they're budgeting these numbers, because as you can see, the balance is $124,000, right?
Yeah.
So I think a large part of this was our previous town administrator wasn't taking health insurance.
Okay.
And I'm not sure, Robin, do you know if Jennifer was taking health insurance? She was taking health insurance?
And I think that part of that, Mr. Chairman, as you're alluding to, is also just the fact that when we were trying to recruit people to fill these positions, we had nobody working them.
Exactly.
So we weren't
You're
paying it
100%
out of
right.
payroll.
Yeah.
So
And that's
that's-
why we had the abundance left
We
over.
were
So-
paying it in another line,
Exactly. Yeah, no, you're right.
because we paid it to MRI.
So I have to find out about New Hampshire retirements on my list. But anyways, my suggestion is to leave the default numbers where they're at and leave the proposed numbers where they're at. Because we still don't have anybody in those two positions.
Right.
Right.
Do you know what I mean?
Is that all that was in those? That's just those two?
I don't foresee, no, this is for the town-wide,
Yeah.
right?
Right.
But no one's changed? Right, because open enrollment's over. And no one's changed.
So the cost will be the
So
same.
the cost should be about the same.
Right.
So that's my, I just don't want to be caught with our pants down.
All right.
You know what I mean?
So question.
Yeah, go ahead.
Why? If we know when we're recruiting that we're gonna have to increase salaries, why would we keep the default the same? Well, we have to keep the default the same, but why would our proposed budget be lower? We know that there's gonna be an increase.
Because look at the balance left over.
Because
I
this
see the
year,
balance left over, but that's because we didn't have those positions
and,
filled.
and I agree, but right now, we don't have those positions filled. And I'm gonna guess 3 months.
So you're, okay, so you're
Do you
looking.
see what I'm saying? Like,
Okay.
I'm gonna guess at 3 months
Okay.
of not having those positions filled.
Okay.
We'll have the money. It is a gamble, I'm not lying.
It's a gamble.
But I think we're pretty solid in taking this gamble right
Yep.
now.
Okay, I see where you're going. I see where
You
you're going.
remember how long it took for us to recruit other
Sounds
people,
good.
so I'm not foreseeing something going
I've got a
very
lot more
easy.
clout in you, so get going.
What'd you say?
Got more clout in you, get going.
Next up is the circuit rider contract. Okay, I talked to Jen Rowden and she ran some numbers. So the amount that's in here is not even accurate. Jen said it's gonna be about $14,000. So that's what's gonna be on the proposed and that's what's gonna be in the default. Because that is contracted. The reason why it was 85 is because we had grants for the last 2 years.
Oh, that's.
That
Exactly.
back-ended it,
Yeah.
and they're not there this year.
Yeah.
Yep.
So that's why I reached out directly to her to find out what was going on. All right, next up,
How about dues and subscriptions?
where are you at? Dues and subscriptions, $5,300, it went up $150?
Right, but the default should be the same, right?
Yeah, it should be, yeah, because those are
Right.
contracted. Okay. So, before we get to the salary line with this large increase,
Yeah.
I've been talking to the chair of the planning board, and I think we're in agreement that going forward, that the hours being worked should be limited to the hours that the planning board's actually open, the office is actually opened,
Plus the meeting.
plus the meetings. Does anybody, Bob, do you have any questions or anything to that
No, I got no
effect?
problem with that. I feel the same way.
Yeah, should be able to get.
And if it needs to go over, he's got to go to the chair.
If it needs to go over the allotted hours that the planning board
Right.
office is open, he just needs to talk to the chair of the planning board.
Sounds fine.
And the chair was all set with that.
Yes, I did talk to the chair, and he agreed. Mike, you got anything?
No, I agree. I think it's up, but we just hold the chair accountable to his budget, that's all.
No, and that's exactly
Right.
right. So I think that by doing that, we lock in the same amount, the 21.
Yep.
Leave it at that.
Absolutely.
Good.
Okay? Right. Police Department, I talked to Katrina. You guys all know that for a couple years, Chief Jewett was paying for fuel out of the special detail account, which was
Right.
not okay. So I took that fuel line and I put it in the default budget, because we still paid for the fuel.
Yep.
It didn't change. So it's just good accounting to have it in there, because that's where it's gonna come from, regardless of where it came from before.
What are you doing with the revenue that he was gathering?
Huh?
What are you doing with the revenue that was offsetting the fuel?
That
The
is
detail
supposed to
account?
be like a in and out account. It's not supposed to build up.
Okay,
You know what I mean?
okay.
And if it does, I think there is stipulations in there that the chief can use that money out of the police special detail to buy capital assets.
As long as we can account where that money's going.
I 100% agree with you.
So, dues and subscriptions on that, the proposed is that we're
Dues
gonna,
and
should we
subscriptions.
bump that to match the default because there's
Yeah, if it
contracts?
went down, yeah.
Excuse me.
All right,
The other one I was just looking at was IT consult and support.
that I can't change, because I think that's on an as-needed basis type thing.
Okay.
You
That's
know
not
what
a
I mean?
contract.
It's, they're, it's a contract, but it's almost like they think that they're gonna need it more.
Okay.
So I don't want to, mess with that.
Didn't something go up in his IT budget from? There was a
Software.
software stuff,
Microsoft
right?
or
Software,
something.
the Microsoft thing
Yeah.
that they now had to buy.
Yes.
It's a one-time
Right.
thing.
Yeah. I think it was a one-time thing. It was like an upgrade.
Was it only one?
I thought so. I had thought so.
But he's gonna need upgrades.
Well,
So-
maybe he can take it from his police special detail account. No, I know.
Telephone.
Salary prosecution, I put that in the default budget because it was in the approved budget, and they didn't use it this year. So I have no, it might have just been an error that it was left out of there. Telephone's gonna go up to 20, and I did, I know that Joe had questions about how it was possible that we would spend $20,000 on internet. So here's what it is. That $20,000 for a year consists of 2 accounts. One's for the PD internet, and the other account is for the VoIP phones for the police department.
Yep.
Okay, 2 different things.
Yep.
Local emergency line directly to dispatch, and it also covers internet for the town beach and Greenie Park, because
Okay.
that's where the
Yep.
lines are.
And the phone at the town
Yep.
beach.
And it covers all the SIM cards to operate the mobiles in each of the cruises, which is mobile internet.
For the computers.
Yep. And all the PD cell phones are on that.
Perfect.
So that's why and that perfectly explained it. As soon as I heard it, I'm
Right.
like,
Yeah.
that makes
That's
sense.
perfect.
You know, when you first see the 20 grand, you're like, holy
Say, yeah,
cow.
what's it for? Yeah.
But once it's explained like that, it makes perfect sense
good,
why it's
yeah, it's good, it's there.
$20,000. Next up, rec. I increased the default on the salary administration by 25K. And the proposed should also be that increase by the 25K. For the
Salary administration, 25.
Yes.
All right.
Telephone got bumped up to $972.48 because that's what it costs, so that's what we put in. All right,
Hold on, we got one more thing to do here.
go ahead.
So the other end of that warrant article, the other 25,000,
Yep,
we were gonna maybe put in the proposed under special programs for now,
okay. That's
so
fine.
that we keep that 50 grand,
So
because
you
then
want
it
me to,
passes.
you want me to bump the proposed up
yeah,
to
to
25?
Right, so-
Not up to 25, you want me
36.
to add it to 36?
36.
Okay,
36.
plus.
So you're taking the
So
11 to
special
36, is
program
this
should be
what I'm-
36.
Yeah, 11
Yes.
would add 25. That's just that's the full 50,000 from the warrant article,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yep.
I just
And
wanna
then
make
if
sure I
that
have a
passes,
rough
then
line
we'll get
item.
it, it'll be
Yep.
default next year.
Yeah, you'll have it,
Yep.
right. It'll stay that way going
Correct.
forward. Okay.
So we got 25 towards the
And the
salary.
telephone, we're gonna bump?
20,
Telephone just gets bumped to
25 towards the special
972.48.
program.
Yeah.
Okay, so next up is the hauling. Hauling on the default side is gonna go to 90K. This is all contracted pricing.
Oh, okay, yeah.
I left disposal at the same because it looks like we did pretty good with disposal. I don't, contractually, it's increased, but if we stayed under, it didn't go up enough for us to change that. Do you know what I mean? What's
Yeah.
left over in that account? It didn't change enough for us to deem it to go up.
Dues and subscriptions, bump that 100.
I don't know what that is for.
What one?
Is that their
Dues and
training, not their
subscription?
training, but,
No, they have a different line for
no,
training.
I would keep this, I was wondering if it's for the,
The
I
metal,
can-
the
I can
metal
change that
recycling,
one to 500, that's fine.
could be for the metal recycling.
Recycling, I went to 25K, because that is contractual, and obviously we didn't budget enough for it, so we had to bump that. And telephone is bumped to 1980.
Okay.
And the vouchers, Robin, did you get a final price on the vouchers? What was it? 600. Okay,
What about internet?
so, telephone, what do you mean? Internet services? No, it's zero.
Zero, right?
Everything's on the one line.
Okay,
We tried to
other
do that with
telephones,
the
okay.
accounts that we could do it with.
So the vouchers proposed, the default's going to 600?
The proposed is gonna go to 600. Actually, I probably would feel better at putting it at like 750, if I'm gonna be honest.
And the
Because you
default,
gotta figure next year, default has to stay that way, because that's what was budgeted.
right,
But I'm thinking 750 because you gotta account for a year's worth of inflation, right?
right.
And on that note, the vouchers are being worked on. Did he give a date? No, they're going to print. Okay, so they're going to print and they will be mailed as soon as we're able to do that. I'll have a date on it next time we meet. Likely.
And with salaries?
And so,
keep it?
with those vouchers, just so everybody knows, what's gonna happen is, he's got a list, and, Robin and I discussed it with him,
Good night,
have a
Mike.
good night, Mike, that one is going to go to every house in Newton, and it's gonna be delivered via the mail carrier. So whether if it's a multifamily or whatever, as we discussed, the intent that was behind that warrant article was for every house in the town to be able to dispose of a bunch of stuff for free. Not that necessarily the homeowner himself is living there, and I don't think we really want the homeowner to be dragging stuff from out of town. The whole idea is so that trash from town doesn't end up dumped somewhere by the wayside.
Yep.
So we're having it sent to every house, one voucher per house. They'll have to keep track of it down there, and they're usually pretty good about that, taking down the car number and stuff like that. We just need to talk to the post office and kindly ask them to make sure that they get delivered one per household when they're delivering them.
What about those people that get their mail at P.O. boxes? That's-
Same thing.
There'll be one in the P.O. box.
Okay, they're going to PO boxes.
And then, like I said, they'll keep track down there to make sure only one per house gets used.
Okay, so next, site monitoring. Mr. Marchand indicated that last year, for whatever reason, we didn't change the budget number of the contracted price for site monitoring, and it is $26,000, so that will be bumped in the default budget, okay?
Yeah, plus the fact that the chair also brought up that we had to do the post-closure for the
Yeah, the post-closure report, yep.
the report, so we hired Gillespie to do that, so that the state would be happy, because they were quite upset that they didn't get one, so we figured we added that all on. I don't know if you wanted to, we did, I don't know if you gentlemen remember, we did look at that contract, it was some months ago, and it seems to generate an additional $2,000. It appeared because of like inflation and whatever. So I had just, for now, had thrown down at 26,000. So we might want to think about maybe even boosting that up another two.
Okay, well, hold your tongue.
Yeah, I know.
The telephone is bumping to 1980.
I did that.
Next up, I have welfare.
I'm gonna ask a question here.
Welfare, the telephone, that's fine. Welfare, the telephone's getting bumped to 768. And go ahead and ask your question.
So rental mortgage assistance,
Yep,
we went over by 8,000.
yep.
Can we have an excess amount of money in that revolving account. Could we pull some money for that to put to this, to
So-
not raise the proposed budget?
I have to do some investigative work before I can do that. I totally understand why she's doing what she's doing. But we have to make sure that we can use the money from that food pantry account for that reason.
The way it was explained to me, it was specifically for food. That's the way it was set up initially.
Sure, so and if that's the case, we have to.
That's right,
we
but
have
if
to-
but if we can, then.
Right,
we
so
will
I'm gonna
put that.
leave it in there because I don't
Right.
know yet.
And then, with that being the case, maybe next year, we might have to reword,
Dissolve it and reword it.
exactly, and
Quite
reword it so
possibly.
that we
There's a lot
can
of
let
money
her
there.
use it for that.
No, and I
for
agree, and
that
I want it to
case.
go to help people, like if we can, and I talked to Tina about it,
Right.
like maybe setting like a threshold, if it's over $1,000, it should come from that account instead of your budget line, and, you know, and she,
Did we do a fund policy for that?
I don't know.
I don't think so.
No, we just talked about this.
No, I know, but when Jim did the fund policy for the town, I wonder if that was one of the,
Oh, I don't know, I can look at it. Next is same deal with the, salary line, cause it's the same hours. It's 2
Oh, right.
hours a week, plus the meeting,
plus one meeting a month.
yeah.
Right.
So that's gonna,
So
that's
this is
gonna be
gonna-
8,400.
Yeah, exactly, I don't see any reason to do that. Okay.
And the fact that it's over, yeah.
Yeah, so with that being said, you guys blew up what I had by changing everything, but that's okay. It's okay.
Give it to us again.
I'm gonna have to do it again.
This is a newish one. Of course, we just changed some.
You
things
just
on it.
changed everything, but let's flip all the way to the back page. This is with all those edits that I had just gone over, not the ones that Joe brought up or the
Yep.
ones that Bob brought up. So if you flip all the way to the back page, that's your number. Now it's higher.
So now we're at 5 million versus
It's over 5.
Yeah,
just over.
and it was just under
We're not
before.
accountants here, we round things.
I understand. So it's probably gonna be more like 5,
Well, we just lowered it. a couple,
40.
Yeah.
$5,050,000. And I guess I'm in the opinion if we could possibly get it down to under 5, I would be super happy.
So we're talking a delta between the 2025 default of about $400,000.
Yes, yes. That's what we had last year, about, if I remember correctly. It was like 411, wasn't it?
Based
Something
on,
like that.
based on price increases, this isn't bad.
No, it's not bad. I am super
No, I
happy
get
with
it.
the way it came
I
out.
thought this was gonna be higher than it
Me
is. so
too.
this is good.
I'm super happy the way it came out.
Well, and if you think about the 364, if you take the 233 for the other, for the increase for the ambulance, really, it's only like 100 and something thousand.
Yeah, no, this is,
Exactly, no,
This is
it's good. I'm just thinking, when we go to sell this, that it, with that 4.999.
I prefer to say when we inform.
Informed, you know what I
Yes.
mean. I don't mean sell, I mean, you know what I mean. Don't get me wrong, I'm gonna rerun this after all the edits we just did.
Yeah.
And Avatar's not in there, so that's another like 13 or 14,000 that's not in there.
Now, for
Or
to be at
actually,
this point-
Avatar is.
Well, it
did I
was
leave
in
it
there.
Let me see if I left it in the finance one, if I already zeroed it out. I might have, I don't remember. Finance, Avatar, no, it is, oh no, it shows negative. So I did zero it
Yeah,
out,
you did.
so.
What is this SCBA?
That's,
Lease.
equipment that's like, it's like a rolling lease that he pays, so they come in every other year, or every year and swap out the old equipment. It's the breathing stuff.
Oh, it's
Because
fire
they're
system,
fit,
right.
yeah, they're fit to their face and stuff like
Okay.
that. So, but I think it's like every year, they swap out like one, but it rolls.
Right.
So it's every year somebody's getting a new one, you know what I mean?
Right.
Because it's fit to each guy.
And do we know how much is left on this pumper lease?
I think 2 payments. I
Oh.
think 2. So that's close to going away.
Fire rescue, I thought was done.
Fire rescue,
Station, I thought we were done with.
Joe, you're asking about that scuba lease?
Yeah,
So that is, what they have is, they used to go to, I believe it was Plastow, and they get, just like scuba tanks.
Yeah.
So they get filled with air. So what they have is their own machine now.
Well, I remember that. and then you
And,
forgot to put
well, and
maintenance
that's
on
what
it.
the lease is. It covers that, and then like Dan says, the tanks and all of that.
Yeah.
So everything's covered under that lease, so that they can fill them right there and then and not have to travel to fill them and take care of
And
them.
no, the fire rescue station, we have like another 20 years on that.
Oh, maybe I was thinking of high school.
Yeah.
High school?
Yeah, the high school's paid.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, no, the fire rescue station's like 20 years or 15, I don't know. It's a while, When I saw the payment schedule, I
It's
was
like your mortgage payment. Don't look at the end date.
when I saw the payment schedule, I'm like, all right, this isn't coming up.
200 and something payments left. It's
Not
good.
in my term anyways.
Yeah.
So yeah, the pumper lease though, I'm pretty sure it's 2 more payments. I'll have to look at it. Robin, do you remember if it was? Yeah, it's not that.
It's
We'll
not,
get it.
I'm just curious. And we did take that Trinity line out of here, right?
Yes, the Trinity line should be out of there. It should not be in the proposed side of things.
Yeah, that was
There's
cut.
$1, yeah.
Yeah, so that should have been cut.
But you left it as a default.
You have to.
You're leave,
'cause-
yeah.
right. Oh, in case, yeah.
Yeah, you have to anyways, because
Well,
it's
it's the
still.
default, it has
Yeah.
to.
So yeah, that is where we're at, gentlemen. I will update this probably tomorrow, and it'll be on the shared drive with the updates.
Okay.
All the updates we talked about under my edited one.
You're using that same link. You can just click
The same link that you
right?
guys all have, you can just click on it, and it should be updated when you click on it. You know what I mean? Like, it
Right.
automatically refreshes. That's the beauty of having the shared drive like that. Robin, is what we're going into non-public for that the chief is talking about covered under what we're about to motion for?
Yeah, compensation and hiring.
Compensation and
that's why I'm
hiring.
asking.
It is, yeah.
I know he said he talked to me about it. No, it's not. It's under reputation.
Oh, so we're gonna add C on that?
Yeah, just add C, just to cover our own butts.
C.
With that said, before I do that at all, do you guys have any questions about the budget, the stuff that I did or anything like that?
No, you did a phenomenal job.
Nope.
We hammered that down.
Good job.
Yeah, you're good with it? You guys are all good with it? Okay.
Well, we'll work on trying to see if we can get.
Do you
those
guys
numbers down.
want, so we are not having another meeting before the public hearing. So the edits that I'm gonna make are the ones that we all just agreed to. Do you guys see anywhere else that potentially where we could make some trims to? I didn't. That's what worries me a little bit, so it's gonna be the number is the number, I guess. Nothing was, I mean, we all know the increase is the fire department.
Yep, which is unavoidable.
Deliberative That's Tuesday.
That's deliberative. That's not budget. That's different.
No, but.
The budget, once I have the budget hearing, the budget's set.
It's before the budget hearing, that's what I wanted.
Oh, it is?
Yeah. Budget hearing's on Thursday, that was on Tuesday.
Did we
It's
have a
prep?
prep?
If needed, yeah.
For a meeting or for getting the building ready?
No, for the meeting.
Okay.
If we wanted to have one more
Okay,
meeting.
if we need to, if
Right,
we need to.
Yeah, if we need to,
Okay,
That's
I
fine.
got you.
Okay.
I'm not seeing anywhere that we could potentially get a large amount from.
it would just nickels and dimes if there's anything.
I know. I mean, let's put it this way, guys. All this budget work we just did, right? You see that delta's 364,000? The fire department's increase is $400,225. So we did actually cut the budget down
We did.
without, you know what I mean? If you take it all out, that's the cost.
Well, we added, we trimmed where we needed to get a realistic budget, is really what it is.
100%.
So if it's up a little bit, it's not up because we're just putting fluff in it.
There's no fluff in
No,
it,
it's just-
exactly.
Just
Well,
real,
if
it's
we look into
realistic.
this one, I know you say we can't, but if we do, well, they have excess from last year, a lot.
I don't
Which
think
one
they
are we
do.
looking at?
Library.
Which one, Joe?
The library.
Library?
The library. So the library,
The library?
excess of, yeah,
Joe, did he say
This was in-
library?
it's like early November, that's their excess. And they have the proposed go up by 10, if,
Yeah, but you can't touch the library.
I,
You
yeah.
can't even, you're really not even supposed to ask them, to be honest.
And where is this? What,
It's in RSA.
It's an RSA.
It's an
100%
RSA.
It's
The
mandated by
The
state.
library
Just don't
proposes
understand
what
why
they
they figured
propose.
out.
That's a state
So
problem,
it's just, yeah, just,
not an us problem.
Yeah,
That's
don't
it.
go
I
there.
want to take that up with the state. You got a good representative in town, go call him.
the two of them.
Oh, boy. But I think it's a pretty tight budget that we have. Can we squeeze some nickels out? Yeah, probably I can. I'm not gonna suggest we do. And now that I'm seeing it, or now that we've added some other things and that number got a little bit bigger, you're probably right not attempting to cut, because we're probably looking at almost 50 grand
Actually,
we would
here's
have to
another
cut.
problem right here, right? So, government buildings, oil, that needs to go up, right?
Yeah,
So
no, I have
this-
that, it's
But
marked.
this is your new one. Oh, you marked that?
No,
out.
that was in this one, I can
Yeah.
print that quick. I think I'm satisfied with it. If you guys are satisfied with it, I'll run the numbers and I'll send an email when it's all updated. And then if we're all good with it, Robin can post it on the website. So everybody else can tear into it. With the year-to-date stuff is draft. So we'll make sure that that's well known, that all that is draft.
Okay.
The other numbers will be real, but the year-to-date stuff will be draft and the balance. I probably won't even leave the balance in there, to be honest with you. I'll probably take that out. I'm not sure how I want to do that, or how you guys would like
And
to
we
see it.
should, if we go, once this budget's settled, I think we said that the treasurer would come, what is it, the second meeting of the month?
Yep.
To do the closing of the previous month, to explain that?
Yeah,
Right.
Right, so we should tie in department heads coming either at that meeting or the one afterwards, because we've been briefed, and then explaining the Department 2 budget.
sure.
So there should be a check at that as
Yep.
well.
I got you. I'm with you on that.
Okay.
Bob, any news from the planning board?
Nope, everything is going well. We did, I think, did I tell you, we got denied on that additional grant? They ended up not having enough money, and there were a bunch of towns that applied for the second phase of the grant, and unfortunately, we were one that got shot down. Otherwise, Jen's contract price could have maybe been reduced a little bit, but we got denied that, so we're on our own, so we're gonna end up having to pay that full contract. That's why Jen had told you. But we're still doing some other work. We should be getting 4 warrants are gonna come from the planning board, 3 from the planning board itself, and then we have another one that's proposed by some residents of the town. And there's gonna be discussion on that, I believe, next Tuesday about the slaughterhouses, to where the planning board has to give their thumbs up or thumbs down.
Oh, sure,
How they
sure.
feel
Yep.
about it. And I believe we should be doing that on all of them this coming Tuesday. And then we should be receiving them
Okay,
for the town.
I saw you guys have a public hearing on those.
yeah.
They already did the public hearing on the slaughterhouse.
I thought there was a couple other warrants that there was a public hearing on. I was looking quickly on one of Jim's things.
Well, there's a public hearing that's gonna be held for 125 development because they're doing a, what is, change of use for the building. It was originally one building, now they're subdividing it into two sections. So that requires a public hearing to take place.
When's that gonna take place? Two months?
This Tuesday
This Tuesday?
should be. Okay. But other than that, that's it. Just keep moving along.
Joe, you got anything?
I'm good.
Joe? Michael?
Good.
You know what? Diane had asked me, and I didn't have an answer. Who is on ZBA?
Who is
Jack.
what?
No idea.
Any selectmen appointed to ZBA?
I'll take it.
Okay, that's fine. After voting, we'll establish the ex officios again, but, yeah,
I'll take it.
perfect.
Yeah.
Okay.
For what?
He's supposed to be an ex officio on ZBA. We're supposed to have one selectman on ZBA.
It's not required by law.
It's not
For
required.
the ZBA.
And that's why when I took this as a selectman, as I came here.
The only one
recused
that's
myself
required by
because
law
there can
is
be
to be on
conflict.
the planning board. There's not one required for the ZBA. But we
I
could
thought
have,
Diane said there was
we could
5.
have one.
There,
Huh?
there,
Diane said there was
Has
5
been in the
boards.
past.
Yeah.
Huh?
there has been in the past. The reason why I took myself off that is because if somebody brings it all the way up, the next board that has to go to is this board. And then I'd have to recuse myself of this board to hear the case.
Right,
Oh.
So that's why the decision was made.
Okay.
right. But I'm saying state by state virtue, we are not required to have a selectman as,
Correct.
Yeah, because he's on conservation, I'm on rec, you're on planning.
right. Planning board, there has to be one.
Yes, that I know.
That's the only one, that's the only board that's required by state.
I thought Diane said we
virtue.
had 5. I thought there, maybe. Well, rec, it's in our bylaws that we need to have one. So the rec bylaws state that we have to have.
Right.
Okay.
So we'll hold off on that.
Yeah, we'll hold off on that until we research it a little bit more and go from there. Anyways, all right, with that being said, I'll entertain a motion to go into non-public.
So I move to go into a non-public session under RSA 91A, A, colon A for compensation, B for hiring, and C for reputation.
Second.
Okay, motion's made by Joe A, seconded by Joe S. Roll call vote. Bob?
Aye.
Joe?
Aye.
Joe?
Aye.
Mike?
Aye.
Dan is an aye. That is unanimous, and this meeting is in recess. Before we...
Recording stopped.
All right, we're all set, Ted.